We are live. Hello.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello, everyone.
everyone. Oh, we already have George in the chat. Hello, George.
Hey, George.
Cool.
Well,
Happy Friday.
welcome to the Team Lead Fireside chat. Let's start with a short introduction. I can start because I talk a lot. My name is Svenja. I'm a development team lead here at ThoughtBot. I joined 2 years ago, I think. Did I just say 2 days ago? 2 years ago? And I will pass over to Moses. Oh, yeah. And just like, by the way, I'm in the wonderful south of Spain located because sunshine, very warm. Moses.
Yeah, hi, everyone. My name is Moses. I'm a senior product designer at ThoughtBot. I am working out of Nigeria. And yeah, it's been almost 2 years. It's going to be 2 years next month since I've been at ThoughtBot. I'm going to pass it on to Stephanie.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Stephanie. I am originally from Brazil, but based in Canada now. And I'm a senior developer. And next is Rob.
I'm always last in these things. It's ridiculous. Hi, I'm Rob. I'm the Director of Software Development for Europe, West Asia and Africa. I've been at ThoughtBot for 7 and a bit years, originally in the London office before we started being remote, and now I live in the northwest of England in Cheshire, south of Manchester.
And it's cold over there. You just say it.
Yeah, I have a coldness fact about Manchester, or a geography fact about Manchester, Canada actually, which I failed to mention when we were warming up, is that there are 21 major cities in Canada, and Manchester is north of 20 of those cities in Canada. But it's only because of the Gulf Stream that it's warmer and we have less snow. That is my boring geography fact for you.
It's not boring at all, Rob. Of course not. Maybe we want to talk about why we want to talk about team leads here. And I thought, so for me, before I applied at ThoughtBot, for me, the culture of ThoughtBot was something I was really drawn to when I applied, and it was one of the reasons I was interested in applying. And team leads are a part of the culture at ThoughtBot. Yeah, so I thought, why not come together and let's talk about the culture at ThoughtBot and what role a team lead has here. And yeah, do all of you have a team lead? I start with you, Rob. Do you have a team lead?
I was just thinking as I was reading the question. No, I don't think I do. I have I wouldn't even say manager really, but I report into our managing director, Kirsten, and we'll maybe set goals and have one-on-ones together. But that's kind of it really. I have an external coach as well that I use as a leadership coach to give me some extra advice. But no, I don't have a team lead.
Were you ever a team lead?
So no. When I started, I started at
okay,
ThoughtBot
next.
I can tell you the journey of how team leads came about at ThoughtBot though.
Oh yes, please.
When I first started at ThoughtBot in 2016, everybody was a designer or a developer, and there were no senior developers. There was no team leads. You'd have a director. I think the directors were split by by function, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And then at one point, we decided to add a director of what do they call it at the time? A development director to the London studio. And I applied and got that role. So that must be 2018, sorry. And then during my tenure on that, we introduced the senior developer role to help folks see the progression in their career at ThoughtBot. And then we found that the directors, because we also bill. At the time, we still billed 4 days a week, like everybody else. And we found that the workload of trying to support, some people would have to support somewhere between 10 and 15 folks. And doing that with billable while billing was a challenge. And so we tried to delegate some of that work to team leads. And so that's when the team leads were introduced. I'd say it was probably 2019, something like that, was the kind of when we started introducing, because it was definitely pre-COVID, we had team leads. So that's why they came about. That's the history.
Nice. I would also, if you're around here and please type in the chat if you have questions, or if you are a team lead, or if you have a team lead. We are always happy to communicate with everyone here. What about you, Moses? Do you have a team lead? Or?
Technically, on the design side, we don't yet have team leads, but yeah, I have a director who sort of like I guess also doubles as my team lead in terms of having one-on-ones, setting goals, and generally manages me.
And Stefanie.
Yeah. I would also be curious to know if folks joining us, if they have a team lead or maybe like it's another title, engineering manager. I don't know how it is at your job. Let us know, and why you're joining us today as well. I do have a team lead. I actually just had a change in my team lead because my team lead changed to another team. So I'm now starting again with a new team lead, but I still maintain. I still meet with my old team lead just for more like occasional chats. And similarly to Rob, I also have a coach, my friend Carol, and yeah, because I really like to know that I'm growing and pushing myself, from my comfort zone, all of that.
That's really nice. Rob, you mentioned also like you bill, and that's something team leads also do, and which might be different to team leads in other organizations. So what, in your opinion, in any of you, so you all can speak, is different in the role of a team lead at ThoughtBot and a team lead in other organizations? Do you, apart from, so I'm a team lead, and while I support folks, I also code regularly. So I bill on projects, which I really like. So this was very important to me, that I continue coding while also supporting people in my team.
I was going to let other folks answer, then realise that the other two folks aren't team leads. Yeah, I think that's a big part. I'm a developer first and foremost. That's why I became a programmer, because that's what I enjoyed doing. It's what I've always enjoyed doing. And I'm fortunate that I also enjoy people management. So I wanted to keep both sets of those skills. I wanted to help coach people. And so, but I didn't want to give up being a developer at the same time. And it's a challenge to say what it's like at other companies, because I haven't been a team lead at other companies. I can only go off anecdotal stuff where maybe I think Stephanie alluded to engineering managers is what I see closest to my role. So I don't know how much engineering managers are programming, how much they're doing project management, how much they're doing maybe more formal one-on-ones or goal setting. So I think that's an interesting question to see what other folks are doing outside of ThoughtBot.
Yeah, we actually have a question in the chat from Richard. Is the team lead an engineer, manager, or a tech lead? ThoughtBot. Sonia, I think you're the...
That's a very good question. I mean, what is an engineering manager, right? I think, yeah, it's so maybe we can talk about what, instead of saying is it an engineer manager or a tech lead, let's talk about what a development or a team lead at ThoughtBot does, maybe. So personally, so I'm booked on projects. I build or I code as a senior developer, but I also mentor or support folks. Currently, 3 people. They're all developers, and we conduct one-on-ones. We have check-ins, and I help them grow, identifying areas they can grow in and support them in different levels. What means being or having a team lead to you, Stefanie?
So for me, it's because we are a consultancy agency, we're not like a product company. That's where it also might be a bit different from what some folks have. And also, like, maybe just to go back a little bit on Richard's question, what I have seen on all the companies that have the title engineering manager, they're really more into the side of making sure the team's roadmap is going well, the projects are going well, doing the one-on-ones, also going into the more basically meetings all day, but not. I think that's where it's a bit different from our team lead. Is our team lead still code? They're still like. Sometimes they also even code that the same project, the same client's project has their team, their people that they are managing, which has happened with me. But then, like for me, it's really helpful to just have that check-in where I say how things are going. And the most beneficial part to me is just help see, oh, this might be a problem that it's worth raising a concern, before it gets bigger. So I think having that constant check-in with my team lead is also helpful to identify those risks ahead of time, but also see, okay, I'm actually also learning something, so I'm growing, or is this a good fit or not? So it's a time for me to be selfish a little bit and think about me a little bit too, and get new perspectives on what I'm going through in the project. And just so I don't miss it, someone from the chat, Shane, is saying that at Carwow, I like that name, we have 2 roles that cover that. So each dev has an engineering manager who helps with career progression, and then each product team has a tech lead who helps unblock developers. Oh, that's neat. Yeah. So it looks like every company has their own structure. Thanks for sharing, Jane.
I think one of the interesting things about that tech lead question that is mentioned is that my expectation as director is that every developer or every developer and designer really is a tech lead, that everybody has that ability to be the point or to be the lead on a project. When we put teams together, we don't say this one person is the focal point, because that creates bottlenecks. So self-management is a big part of how we work. So folks being able to take on that skill, and it's something that we help coach people being able to do that. And a big part, we call that consulting or process or things like that. But that's, I think, something that we don't really have is that tech lead. And it's something we try to, when we talk to clients, to say, oh no, all the people on the team are the tech lead. You can ask any of them these questions. They're all able to unblock each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, Moses, I just have a question, because I mean, we talked about engineering manager and tech leads. How is it for you as a designer? Because what I'm always trying to do, I just really try to focus on the growth, on that everyone feels fulfilled in what they are doing. Yes, of course, unblocking, but that also like unblocking, like in finding fulfillment is important to me, and apart from development. So because we have really amazing designers here. So
yeah, it's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same experience for me as a designer. One thing I look forward to a lot going into my one-on-ones with my manager is the clarity that session gives me. And like Stephanie described earlier, that opportunity to just be able to, I guess, unpack what has happened in the course of the week or in the course of 2 weeks, depending on the cadence of your one-on-one with your manager. It's always gives a lot of clarity. And sometimes there are instances where even if it's you may be, I guess, facing or navigating a little bit of a consulting challenge or even a technical one, and just in that one-on-one being able to, I guess, just unpack it. Personally, I've had so many instances where my manager essentially just after me unpacking just asks me, so what do you think is the solution to this problem? And I see myself basically reeling out like very good steps to solving that problem. So that's one thing I look out for, the clarity and how that is able to shift my thinking. And the opportunity to also get unblocked. So many times there have been so many instances where it's just like we just organize a parent session with my manager to look at issues, and sort of like I get unblocked very quickly, especially when I started as an apprentice coming up the ranks. So that was super, super helpful. And yeah, those are one of the things I really benefited.
So we have a question here from Tiago. What kind of leadership coaching do you get as a team lead, and how did that help?
I can pick that one up. So before team leads existed and I became a director, so that would be effectively a team lead. We used to do training with a company called Plucky, and we would go out to one of their workshops, which was called So Now You're a Manager. And they were 2-day training sessions with a group of other folks who'd just become managers at different companies. And we'd learn different techniques for how to coach people, how to have one-on-ones, how to even things like asking open questions. So instead of saying, is this something you'd like to do? Would you like to do that? You learn how to ask, how would you want to do that? Why do you want to do that? Who's going to do those things? And ask open questions to keep the conversation going. And it's a really helpful skill to learn as a people manager. Nowadays, we use a company called Life Labs for our training. And so whenever anybody becomes a team lead or a people manager, they'll go on this Life Lab learning. And again, it's the same sort of thing. We have I forget how many different sessions there are, but over a few weeks, there'll be like an hour and a half session every week about a different subject. You learn things, different techniques for one-on-ones. So there's things like the soon funnel. The soon funnel is to help somebody go from they have an idea or a problem to you navigating them down to the next step. So soon stands for success, options, obstacles, and then next action. So you ask the person, what does success look like in this situation? Okay, well, what options have you got for this? Well, and then, well, what's stopping you from doing one of these options? Okay, well, what's the next step to unblock yourself and get yourself going? And so you learn these different techniques there for like one-on-ones and things like that. Internally, we'll do people management training as well around subjects like DEI and harassment and things like that to make sure that we have the correct skills to help our staff and to keep ourselves in check as well. And then I've got Stephanie's going to share a link to the coach that I use, a guy called Chris Free, who I got in touch with through Plucky. He's a great person to talk to, and he's looking for fresh clients right now. So feel free to reach out to him.
So I guess if someone in the chat does not have a team lead, has a team lead that could benefit, maybe you can drop hey, maybe you should talk to this person. Because I know that it's great to know that, for example, here at ThoughtBot, and I can see that our team leads, our people management are always doing training. But I know that in some companies that is not true, because the tech lead title is the only one after senior. And so lots of people go to that role just because it's the next step and not necessarily because they like or they want to. And I think that is such a hard position to be in for the people that are being managed by that person. Just a side note. Back to you, Svenja.
Yeah, no, we also have training in how to give feedback. So this is something that's very important, in daily life, especially when you are in a remote world, when you work remotely, that you give and that you seek feedback, and to do it in a good and nice way. So we use mainly the big model, for example, to give feedback. So you define or you talk about the behavior, the impact it has, and then you ask a question. And it's very important to not only do it constructual, but also to give positive feedback. I'm a strong believer in positive reinforcement, not only in when I work with people, but also with animals. And yeah, so yes, I think you learn better in a positive environment when you are allowed to ask questions and when you feel comfortable to be open. When you are happy that you have one-on-ones with your team lead or manager, just for everyone out there, Rob is kind of my manager, so my team lead. And I enjoy that. And becoming that's also one thing how to improve in being people manager is asking feedback, getting feedback, and giving feedback, and that's part of every one-on-one kind of. We have another question from Robert. Do you have advice on how to possibly transition from senior software engineer to becoming a team lead or project manager type, not actively coding? Maybe someone else wants to talk? I mean, I just made that transition. So I mean,
I could take it as the other people manager.
Thank you.
On the, I'd say understand why you want to do it. And it's a question I talk to folks when they talk about promotion from developer to senior developer or senior developer to principal developer, is understanding why they want to be that. And some people say, I want the job title. Some people say, I want the extra compensation. Some people say, I want to be web famous. And you get all these different reasons. And I'd ask the same question for you about, why do you want to be a team leader or a project manager? And I'd say that they're two different things as well. I think to be a team lead, you really have to care about the people that you're going to manage. I see myself more as a coach, and so I get my fulfillment out of seeing people grow and become better, not better, but just grow in their jobs and find new things or round themselves out or doing those sort of things. So I think you've got to do that and be prepared for those, learn how to help people coach and things like that. And the project manager type, again, where you're not actively coding, I think it's looking at, well, the folks on the Europe, West Asia and Africa team will know that I've been talking a lot about extreme programming recently, which I've kind of picked up the book again after 15 years. And so to be a project manager, you kind of have to be interested in, how do I perfect the process of delivering this product? That's where the way I look at it is being a tech lead or a project manager on client projects is, okay, where's the bottleneck in this? How can we make this faster? What are the problems? Okay, how do we, and constantly ask why I'd say it's the biggest thing asking it about why you want to do the job, but as a project manager, asking why things aren't necessarily working the way you want them to, or why you want that product. Where's the idea come from? And things like that. I have a tendency to ramble, so people are going to have to stop me because I'll just keep going.
I stop you.
Thank you.
Can I? Oh, you can go next, Vinny. But I just wanted to say, well, yeah, just to add a little bit, like, I don't like giving advice or asking for advice. My advice is don't ask for advice, but instead try to find people who did what you are trying to do and ask them direct questions on how they did it, what they wish they had known before they did the transition, what helped them, what didn't help them. So if you ask those specific questions for people who did that, you will get more insights than just asking advice. Because usually people would just say, yeah, you should do it. Oh, no, you shouldn't do it, right? But those things are not super helpful. So try to do that exploration on your side, find those people and ask those questions. I think that would be the best way to go. And also, these days, people change titles a lot. Don't be like, oh, I have to do this right, whatever. Treat it as an experiment, right? Like, I would try it out and see if I like it. Otherwise, you can go back to where I was.
Yeah, I think that's great, Stephanie. When I applied, so you don't automatically become a team lead, right? So there was a role and I applied for it. And I asked my previous team lead, for example, and other folks as well at ThoughtBot, what is the most positive aspect of being a team lead and what is the most difficult one? And I think not talking about, what's all the good things, but where do you actually need to level up? What might be difficult to to change, or identifying areas to grow might be easier for one than it is to the other. But talking about it, talking this through, asking open question, and all that might be something that you can just you have to ask yourself, and you can ask current team leads or engineering managers at your company where they struggle, and what they like about it.
Yeah. One question I also like to ask when I'm looking to go to a more senior role or even explore a different field altogether is essentially try to understand what success looks like for that role, and to be able to get a sense if that is something I can get fulfillment from. And yeah, that essentially helps me in answering the question of also why I want this role or why I want this promotion and the likes.
And I have one question. Oh, Rob, did you wanted to go? No?
I just want to answer, sorry, I'm looking at resources at the same time. So I want to answer Robert's question about, I feel that I'm better suited as a people manager. Granted, I'm not the most familiar with what you guys do. Could you recommend any resources for how to level up my knowledge there? So one, a while ago, our former Chief Development Officer, Kyle Fiedler, I think his last name, put together a group of management resources. We shared a Google Doc, but that's currently restricted to Thoughtbot, but I don't think there's anything sensitive in there, so we may make that open to the public. But two good people that I'd recommend from there. So the Julie Zhu book that's in the chat is a good book for folks to read. Lara Hogan's blog is fantastic for stuff, and she's written a great book called Resilient Management. She also wrote a great book called Demystifying Public Speaking as well, which if you ever want to do any public speaking, I recommend that. And also a guy called Michael Lopp, whose website is randsinrepose.com. Let me give Stephanie a link. Stephanie's doing all our chat stuff, so which is an excellent blog to sign up to as well. He's written some great books that I could highly recommend to everybody. I'm going to make that a Google Doc public as well. It's fine. But yeah, they're the resources I'd recommend.
When we talk about like what helped us grow, or what's helpful to you and all of you out there as well, if you could pick one characteristic or one I think it's characteristic, what would it be? What would be the most important for you for a team lead to have? You can think about it.
Should we hear from the non-people managers first? What's most important
yes,
for them
please.
as the team lead?
I don't want to put you on the spot.
I can go
I'm
first.
not sort of
not putting on the spot, please.
Okay. The question says one, but I may just go two because I can't find which one I think I find most important between the two. The first one is that ability to be able to guide people into clarity. Just be able to provide that guidance to be able to navigate stuff related to work. And the second, for me, and this is probably because I I take upskilling and sort of like growing very seriously. It's something I really enjoy. And this is something I found really helpful. The ability to be able to help someone grow and upskill in a certain aspect of their skill set. So, for instance, folks have varying levels of skill sets. So, one person may be at a mentor level or at an expert level on this skill set, and a beginner at the other skill set. So, just being able to help them navigate those two levels in those various skill sets, and just sort of like be able to upskill each of those skill set one by one. It's something that I have found to be super helpful for me particularly.
I think for me, the main crucial characteristic is that continuous improvement goal, lifestyle, I don't know, value, I think. Because, we are people, we are complex. And if the person that is a team lead or whatever is in any people management role does not want to get better themselves, that's a no-go to me. And I have seen lots of people leave jobs, like even good jobs or things like that, because of their managers. So that is really, really important. Like people think that it's just some companies saying like, let's just promote this person to team lead so they get the title and the salary increase. But that can, make other people leave because they are not they are not interested in growing or keeping better. So that's my answer to that question.
Yeah, I can. So what was for me, I mean, of course, I had an incredible team lead before. Otherwise, maybe I wouldn't have liked to be a team lead. But I like to talk about what I'm struggling with. So I like that I can be open and that I trust the people I work with, and just feeling that I can trust my team lead or my director is something I want. I want to feel that I can trust them with everything that's on my mind. So there's, yeah, if I don't feel good, I won't be able to say that, and I want to not fear to say, oh, I'm struggling with this or that. I'm not mentally there, or I struggle with something technically. Yeah, that's important to me.
Yeah, I would echo what Svenja said there. I think vulnerability and the trust that allows you to be vulnerable is such a massive part of being a good manager. I think creating that environment for folks to bring that and be honest and say when they're having a bad day, or sometimes I have to say to folks who maybe have gone through a bad time, like, feel free to just send me a direct message that just goes, and I'll just go, that's enough for you to kind of just decompress. If we don't need to talk about it, you can just scream at me in the direct messages. But you as a team lead or as a people manager, you have to bring your own vulnerability and say to folks, look, I'm having a bad day today. I'm struggling. I just can't get my head around this today. I'm just like, can somebody help me with this? And just be honest yourself, because nobody's perfect and we're all human. And I think that's one of the main things, is that we are humans. Like, you may have job titles of director or team lead or developer or senior product designer or whatever, but you're still a human at the end of the day. One of my proudest moments is that Sammy, who's a developer or senior developer now on our team, he told me that his wife was pregnant before he told his family, and I was like, okay, I take that as a big win, that he trusts me, that he wants to tell me that before he told his wider family. So I always take that as a big plus, that he felt he could be like he wanted to share that with me first. I was his team lead at the time. I was his team lead.
Okay, so I have a question. So Thiago is asking, has a team lead, so that's probably for Svenja or Rob or both. Is there anything you find hard or confusing? What are some of the problems that come up when working with your team?
I like that question, Thiago. I think when you be a new team lead or when you start as a team lead, just get a vibe how to talk to the people you support. It's not hard or confusing, but it's something that you need to figure out, I would say, because everybody is different. And while you always have the best intention, you speak differently to each person, and finding the best way to communicate and the best type or way how to give feedback is, I think, the most challenging one, maybe, to me. Also, it's easier if you're on the same project, I must say, because then you find things. Oh yeah, I saw. Maybe that was something really good. So you get you see and feel the energy when you're in the same project. Whereas when you are not, you rely on the openness and trust you hopefully build by that time, or you are building. So these are two things. Rob, do you have something?
Again, I echo what you said there. So I manage 4 people, and they're all completely different in terms of how much energy they'll bring to a one-on-one, in terms of where they are in their life, where they are in their career, like what problems they're going through, and just their communication styles. It will be all completely different. So the questions that I'll ask Svenja will be completely different to the questions I ask of Dimitar, Nick, and Fritz, my other people that report into me. So that's an interesting one. I think it gets when we all went on feedback training last year, and the BIC model that Svenja mentioned, where you focus the feedback on the behavior, not the person. So I notice it's behavior, it's important that we do, and then I is important. So like, it's important that we do this thing or don't do this thing, and then following up with a question, which is the cue, and go, what can we do? I'd start asking an open question about what can we do. And before then, it was a challenge to kind of, how do I give this person feedback in a way? And that's kind of one thing. And another thing is that I still struggle with, and it's something I want to try and get over this year, is being able to give my opinion without stepping on somebody else's creativity. So just because I feel there's a way to run a project doesn't mean that that is the way to run a project. And so that's one thing I'm working with my leadership coach to kind of figure out, how do I give my opinion without being dogmatic and allowing folks to come in and say, oh, well, I'd like to do it this way. So that's a kind of a challenge as well.
So just to clarify, okay. So Robert saying, about the Google Doc. Is that one public, Rob? No? It's public? Okay. So I'm going to share it in the comments. You should be able to access it. Otherwise, send us a message. And then we can send it. Okay. Oh, Rob, that should be a blog post. Yeah, stay tuned. You can sign up for our blog to receive updates when Rob publishes.
Speaking about blogs, we also have really some and we talked about resources before. On our blog, there are some articles regarding mentoring and growth and communication. So check that out as well. I wanted to talk because we talked a lot about what one of the characteristics of a team lead you appreciate. I would really like to hear that from other folks as well. So what's important to you? What a characteristic in a team lead you appreciate, or what's the most important for you? And while we wait for someone to answer that, we have, it goes in that direction, talking about values. So, of course, ThoughtBot has values. So we have earn, import, and summon trust, practice, continuous improvement. And yes, I'm reading because I always like to handwrite something. Uphold quality, assert self-management, and seek fulfillment in everything we do. How does that, in your opinion, Rob, Stephanie, and Moses, relate in the role of a developer, of a team lead, not developer? Who wants to go first? Otherwise, I pick. I don't.
Moses, you go first.
Yeah, in just in the practice of continually asking ourselves how we can make things better, how we can improve things, essentially. Yeah, just looking for the best word to describe this. Yeah, essentially just seeking out ways to like make processes and stuffs better, and seeking out those new ways to do them.
Okay, I'm gonna share a playbook link just a second. Svenja, do you mind asking the question
Thank you.
again? Because I was going through the.
Sorry. No, I didn't want to put you on the spot.
Oh, good.
I just like so is the values. How does team lead at ThoughtBot? How does it reflect the ThoughtBot values? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think to me, like right away is the trust in there. Like I have cried like one-on-ones. And for my new team lead, I was like, there's something that you need to know about me. I might one day just cry. And I really like that because I know that I have that moment to just, to trust that, hey, I'm really like, this is really hard for me. I'm having trouble like processing it. So I'm bringing this here so we can maybe go through this together. And so to me, it is, I have to trust that person. And I do trust it. And I think it's both ways. So that to me is the most important, the best characteristic, the best part of it.
I agree. You're not the only one who cried. I also laugh very often, but yes, sometimes I cry. Sometimes I talk about something not related to work. So because sometimes I'm very blank, as Rob now, and then he picks his card. Please tell me again. I really want to get the cards. So for not only for people manager out there, but the cards are amazing. So Rob, please tell me again what they are, or bring one. The quest, and I kind of forgot the question, but it was, what did I wanted to become when I was 8 years old or something like that? And that was sometimes the best chat is not related to work, you know, because you sometimes need just to step away from your thoughts. And yeah, the answer to that was not related to tech. I'm not sure I should say that. I wanted to, I think I was 8 years old. I wanted to become a designer. A designer for flower arrangement on graveyards. So sorry, I don't know why. Very different to what I'm doing now, but yeah.
That's like a designer for flowers. I was like, that is so cute for graveyards. Oh,
I don't know, but yeah, it's yeah, it was a really good one-on-one. So, Rob, what are the cards?
So yeah, the thing that I wasn't surprised by Svenja's answer either. It's such a Svenja answer. So these cards I got when I did my Plucky training. So is it in focus? So this is like questions you'd ask. I don't like the term individual contributor, but people who aren't people managers. And then there's another box which is this one. Oh, I can't do mirrors. It's the one, and so in here there's just if we're struggling, if it's not flowing in the one-on-one, I'll just pick one off the top. So I'll just pick one at random. And so like if I pick one at random from this is, oh, that one, that's a rubbish one. Let's pick a better one. If you could wave a magic wand and change something about our team or company, what would it be? That's a good one. So yeah, they're good little things to keep things going.
Yeah, I really like them. I really, really like them. So yeah.
They're available on the beplucky.com website. Jen's going to love this graphic I'm sending to her.
Did you just happen to pick that card, Rob?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it's full of good ones. Yeah. To go back to the original question about the values, I think I've been saying this a lot to people is about my job's to help people find fulfillment in their role, and if they're finding fulfillment, then they'll do the job they need to do, and they'll do their best work, and everything will just come naturally, and things will flow. And part of their job is then to figure out what isn't giving them fulfillment and how to unblock those things. So if they're finding that the project's becoming a drag because it's taken a long time to write the code, well, that's pointing out that you're unfulfilled. Like, we'll come to like design or develop stuff, and if you're not doing that, then find out what's blocking you. Is it that your code review is taking too long? Is it that it's taking too long to kind of get around some spaghetti code? Is it that there's a bit of communication missing? All those things then come back, that if you can unblock them, you can fulfill yourself. And so it's my job not to do that for people, but to give them the skills to be able to do that. To one, help them identify that, oh, there's something that I can change. And then two, how to change it. I think that's a big part of being a coach, I'd say, is which I see myself more of than anything else, is in a team lead role.
Can I just drop something? These questions that you were sharing, I don't know if people know Kat Velos, but she has this amazing resources, like $10. It's like some alternatives of questions from, like, instead of saying, how are you doing today? Or, things like that. She has some more broader questions, and I use them a lot. It's also really helpful for when you need to just talk about other things that are not work, like what Svenja was saying. I really, really like that resource, and I recommend it. The other one, before I forget, is Julia Evans has this one. It's also really cheap design called Help, I Have a Manager. It's a really nice resource. Like, just, it's helpful to know what to bring to your one-on-one. Also understand the job of your team lead or engineering manager a little bit better. And I can't recommend that zine enough. Just wanted to drop those before I forget.
Thank you so much. And for me personally, I think it's very important to not restrict to how do you feel at work, because it's so important how you feel outside of it. If you have stress, or if you're happy, that is it affects work as well, right? So it's you can't block it, and I think it's important to see the whole picture. Um, if you don't feel comfortable sharing everything, that's perfectly fine. It's but I think it's important to say I don't feel, or I have something at the side what's on my mind, so I can't focus, for example. Just letting folks know, and then trying to make the hours you're at work, or maybe it's just like maybe the solution is don't work at all today. Shut down the laptop and do something completely different. Sometimes that's the best solution for everything and everyone. Yeah, I think people don't do that enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with what Svenja said. I was just going to share a link with Stephanie to share. I'm a big fan of a book called Time Off, and it's the subtitle is A Practical Guide to Building Your Rest Ethic and Finding Success Without the Stress. And what it basically says is just find time to get away from your computer, like throughout the day. Just go for a walk. Like, we are all in the creative role where your brain will do the work at the back, and so you can be focused on a problem and just go to the park or do something, and all of a sudden it'll click into place. And it's not just about unlocking stuff where you're stuck, but just like having that rest ethic and being able to get away is really helpful. And I think I'm going to try and send this to all our new starters whenever we start hiring again, is get a copy of this book and send it out to folks. I tried to see if there was an ebook version, but I think it's only in paperback. But yeah, it's super good. I recommend.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You just have about 2 more minutes. But yeah, it's not looking. I didn't want to interrupt you, Moses. Go ahead if you had something.
Yeah, I was just gonna echo what Rob just finished saying. Personally, as a designer, like, things essentially click in my mind 90% of the times when I'm doing something else and doing something entirely unrelated. And most times I have to like grab a notepad and all to just like scribble down ideas, especially if it's off work hours, so I could get back to it like when I start work the next day. So yeah, +1 to that.
Cool. So I'm being reminded to do something before I forget, but I was forgetting. For those of you who don't know, we have some office hours. I'm gonna drop the link here. And it's the last one, sorry. This episode from Bike Shed. Bike Shed is one of our podcasts. Ooh.
Yeah, and if you ever have questions or so, we are always around. So just find us everywhere. So I know that we're on Mastodon. You can find us there. You can also send us emails if you prefer that way. Yeah, we really like to communicate. Feel free to also ask questions here, and we try to answer them. And I want to thank everyone on the stream, and thank for the comments and questions. It was really nice. Yeah, and if Saltpod can help you, you can hire us. You can also hire team leads. Yeah, feel free.
Yeah, good job. And we are also gonna have a free workshop from our DevOps team. You can find the link here on the banner. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thanks, Svenja, for organizing this. And thanks, everyone, for joining.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful Friday.
Oh my God, Rob.
Yes. That's also something you really
Awesome.
have to do.
Yeah.
Thank you
All
so much,
right.
everyone. Have a great weekend. And
Bye.
see you next time. Thanks, Thiago.
Bye.